Hello everyone, my dear friends, how are you all? This is Ayushan and I welcome you all to Educate Accomplished Learning. So guys, today we are going to start with the part of reflection on that particular chapter which is known as light. Okay, so we are going to start with our with reflection today, and also we are going to cover complete mirrors in this particular lecture. Yes, it will be a basic discussion on mirrors, and in the further lectures, in the subsequent lectures, we will start with spherical mirrors. Okay, so let us start with what? With reflection. Okay, what do we mean by reflection? Can you tell me what do we mean by this term which is known as reflection? We just learned it in the previous lecture that what is reflection. What is happening in this? Suppose that this is a smooth surface. Suppose that this is a surface. What is happening over here? Here a ray of light is coming. A ray of light is incident somewhere over here, and then what will happen? This ray of light, after striking this surface, will pass through in the same medium with a change in direction. This phenomena is basically known as reflection. So you all can write the definition of reflection as what? When an incident ray is incident on a surface and gets reflected in the same medium with a change in direction, that phenomena is known as reflection. Okay, so this is reflection, we can say. Now talking further about reflection, we are going to deal with what are the types of surfaces. Okay, first, or let us just deal with the laws of reflection. But before dealing with the laws of reflection, what we are going to talk about? First, we are going to talk about various terminologies. Okay, so there are various terminologies attached with reflection of light. The first term is the incident ray. Okay, the first term is the incident ray. What do we mean by this incident ray? See, if we are just talking about incident ray, it is the ray of light which is just striking to the surface or surface of another medium. See, here this I represents the incident ray. Okay, the ray of light is coming like this. This ray of light is the incident ray. So I am just representing it by I. The ray of light which just strikes the surface, which just approaches the surface and strikes the surface, that ray of light is known as the incident ray. Okay. Second term that we are going to come through is the reflected ray. What do we mean by a reflected ray? See, what is reflected ray? Reflected ray, when the ray of light strikes the surface and after striking the surface it gets reflected and changes its direction, so that ray of light is known as the reflected ray. Yes, means this ray of light here is the reflected ray. Okay, so I think this point is clear. The third term, what is the normal? Okay, what is the normal? So normal, we can say that when we draw a line perpendicular to the surface of the mirror or any smooth surface, then the line perpendicular to the mirror with, at the point of incidence is known as the normal. See, this is the point of incidence where the ray of light come and strike. Okay, so this is the point of incidence, and what we are going to do? We are going to draw an imaginary line. We are going to draw a virtual line somewhere over here, perpendicular to the surface at 90 degrees. Okay, so this is what? This is the normal, and I am representing it by capital N. Okay, so this is the normal. The fourth term that we are going to come through is the angle of incidence. What is the angle of incidence? So if I am talking about the angle of incidence, it is basically the angle in between the normal and the incident ray. Okay, suppose this is normal, this is the incident ray. So the angle between this normal and the incident ray, this angle is known as the angle of incidence. So I can say that this is angle I, which is the angle of incidence. Okay, clear with it? Now there is another angle which is the last term. First, let me write this angle of incidence. Angle of incidence, represented by small I. Okay, the fifth term, which is the last term, that is basically angle of reflection. Angle of reflection. What is this angle of reflection? With angle of reflection, we basically understand that the angle which is made by the reflected ray and the normal, the angle in between the reflected ray and the normal, that particular angle is known as the angle of reflection. Means this particular angle is the angle of reflection, which I am representing it by small r. Okay, so this small r is the angle of reflection. So I think all these terminologies are clear to you. And now we are going to start with the laws of reflection, the basic laws of reflection, which you learn by rote method and you never understood what these laws of reflection are. But I am going to go in detail with this laws of reflection. Okay, so we are going to study what? We are going to start with laws of reflection. The first law of reflection, it tells us that the incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal, they all lie in the same plane. Now, first thing, we understood what is the incident ray, what is the reflected ray, what is the normal, but what is the same plane? You never asked your teacher that what is the same plane. What do we mean by plane at least? Okay, so I am going to explain you what a plane is. Okay, so first let me write the first law. The first law says that says what? The incident ray, the reflected ray, the normal, they all lie in same plane. They all lie in same plane. See, by same plane, we basically mean what? We basically mean that suppose this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis, or this is the thing. This is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. So this is basically your xy plane. Suppose this is your x-axis, this is your z-axis in 3D. If I am showing it in 3D, then this is the x-axis, this is your z-axis. This is known as xz plane. Or suppose this is the z-axis and this is the y-axis. This plane, this particular plane is basically known as the YZ plane. Okay, so all these are planes. If I just try to represent it in 2D, we can say that this is what? This is XY plane. This is what? This is XZ plane. Okay, this is what? This is your YZ plane. I am trying to represent it in 3D, but it is not at all possible because this board is in 2D. Okay, so please don't tell that why is this z-axis not coming outside. It is coming outside, but I will not be able to show it coming outside because this board is in 2D. Okay, this point is clear to you. Now these are the planes. Now what you will ask? You will ask, suppose that the complete reflection is taking place in this plane. What is this? This is you told this is x, this is y, and this is z. What is this plane then? See, what are the planes? These are all the relative numbers. You have to take plane by yourself. If the reflection is taking place somewhere like this, something like this, then what you will do? You will make this as the x-axis, this as the y-axis. Okay, or this as the z-axis, this as the y-axis, or this as the y-axis, this as the z-axis. It all depends up to you. It is all in the mind. Okay, it is all in the mind. Okay, all these things are basically according to our assumptions. Okay, you will study in coordinate geometry in class 11th, then that you can just change the axis also. No problem with that. You can change the axis by an angle, you can change the axis by the direction, you can change the axis by yourself according to your convenience, so that to make the calculations easier. Okay, so basically what is happening, it is taking place in any of the planes. Okay, so reflection is taking place in any of the planes. Okay, this point is clear to you. Now the second law says what? Second law tells us that the angle of incidence is always going to be angle of reflection. Okay, angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. I can say that this angle is equal to this angle, and that too always. Remember this term, always. Always means always. Okay, now a simple question for you. What is the question? Suppose that this is a plane mirror. Okay, suppose that this is a smooth surface. Okay, now what we are doing? We are just providing a ray of light. Oh, this pen cap just fell down. What we are doing? We are just providing a ray of light perpendicular to this surface. Okay, we are just providing this ray of light perpendicular to the surface, and it is striking the surface somewhere over here. Now you have to tell me, if it is perpendicular to the surface, where will we get the reflected ray? Okay, where will we get the reflected ray? So the answer is simple. See, the angle of incidence is what? Angle of incidence is basically the angle formed between the normal and the incident ray. So this angle becomes equal to 0 degree, and we just learned that angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Okay, if the angle of incidence is equal to 0 degree, we can say that the angle of reflection is also 0 degree. Can we say it? Yes, we can say it. So the angle of reflection that we will get is also again equal to 0 degree. Okay, this point might be clear to you. And because these both angles are 0 degree, we can say that the ray of light was coming something like this. It will go back something like this. Yes, means there will be no change in the path of the light. Okay, there will be no change in the path of the light. The light was coming like this. It will go. It will just retrace its path. As simple as that. Okay, so this was all about the laws of reflection. A question for you, a simple question for you. Suppose that this is a surface, and the ray of light is passing, and the ray of light is striking somewhere over here. This is your normal, and the angle between the incident ray and the normal is, you can suppose, is at 30 degree. Okay, it is 30 degree. Now you have to just form a reflected ray. Can you just make a reflected ray? Where will the light get reflect? Yes, it is very much easy. What you have to do? See, angle of incidence is equal to angle of reflection. Means what we have to do? We have to sketch a reflected ray somewhere over here, and the angle in between the reflected ray and the normal, they are always going to be equal to angle of incidence, which is equals to 30 degree. Okay, so this angle is going to be 30 degree. Clear? Okay, is this point clear? So you just have to, this law will always work. As I told you, this law is always going to work. This point might be clear to you. Now I am just erasing this part. Now the another term, types of surfaces. Types of surfaces. See, there are only two types of surfaces. Surfaces are of two types. What type? They may be a rough surface, or it may be a smooth surface. What is a smooth surface? A smooth surface is somewhat in which there is no distortion. Okay, or you can say there is no roughness. That is known as smooth surface, or it may be considered as a plain surface with no irregularities. See, this is a plain surface with no irregularities. So this can be termed as a smooth surface. What will happen in the case of a smooth surface? If the ray of light is passing, if some rays of light are passing something like this, this is the first ray of light, this is the second ray of light, this is the third ray of light, and they are parallel to each other. All these rays of light are parallel to each other. If we are just forming the reflected rays for all these, what will happen? If we are just forming the reflected rays, the normal for all of them will be same. Okay, the normal, if I draw them, the normal for all of them will be parallel. Yes, because the incident rays are parallel and this surface is a smooth surface. Okay, so we can say that the normal is always going to be parallel for all these, and because the normal is parallel, the incident rays are parallel, we can always say that the angle of incidence for all these rays is basically same. Okay, so the angle of incidence for all these rays is same. After and what we can say that the reflected ray that we are going to get, they will also be parallel to each other, because angle of incidence is same, normal is same, so the reflected ray that we are going to get will also be same. So will also be parallel. Okay, so they are parallel. All the reflected rays are parallel to each other. This is the first type of reflection, which is known as the reflection from a smooth surface. Now talking about the other type of reflection, what we can say, the other type of reflection is basically through a rough surface. What is a rough surface? Rough surface is a surface in which there are various irregularities present. Okay, there are various irregularities present. The reflection, why this room is shining completely, because of these irregularities, because when it strikes a surface there are irregularities available. Suppose that this is the surface. Okay, suppose that this is the surface in which there are various irregularities. The ray of light will strike over here, it will go over here. Ray of light will strike over here, it will go over here. Ray of light will strike over here, it will go over here. That's why this complete room is covered. Because of what? Because of these irregularities and the reflection through these irregularities. Now talking ahead, taking this concept ahead, what we can say, first of all, tell me that will the laws of reflection be followed over here? Can we say that the laws of reflection are followed on a rough surface also? Can we say that? See, I don't, if I am telling you that the ray of light will pass from here to here, ray of light will pass from here to here, ray of light will pass from here to here, where are the laws of reflection followed? Just comment down in the comment section where are the laws of reflection followed in this case. Before I just explain, just comment in the comment section. Okay, so I think you might have commented in the comment section and just explaining it. Okay, what is happening over here? See, suppose that this is a ray of light, this is a incident ray. These are all incident rays. Okay, and they are parallel to each other. All these incident rays are parallel to each other. Okay, now if we just check the normal for all these, if we just draw the normals for all these, suppose that the normal for it is something like this. Suppose that the normal for it is something like this. Suppose that the normal for it is something like this. Okay, means the normals for all the reflected rays are not at all parallel to each other. Normals are not at all parallel to each other, and because the normals are not at all parallel to each other, we can say that the angle of incidence will just vary for each type. Okay, the incident ray which will always vary for each of the types. Okay, means because the angle of incident rays because the angle of incidence is varying for all of them, we can say that we are going to get a change in the angle of reflection also, because angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. I told you always, in this case also it will be equals to angle of reflection. So we can simply say that there will be a change. Of what change? See, we have to maintain this rule, angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. So we can say that this ray of light will pass something like this, this ray of light will pass something like this, this ray of light will pass something like this. Okay, so yes, there is a change in angle, and there is and the reflected ray is all the reflected rays are not at all parallel to each other. Okay, so this is the variation that we are getting in the type of surfaces, and keep in mind that the laws of reflection are always followed. Okay, in any type of the surface, laws of reflection are always followed, may it be any type of surface. Okay, this is the point. Now all about we have done all the things about the reflection, and now we are going to talk about the mirrors. Okay, so I think that I will be able to cover it in this portion. Talking about the mirrors, what are the types of first, what is a mirror? Okay, first, what do we mean by a mirror? A mirror is basically a mirror, like girls, they just look at the mirror, they do like this, they do like this, they maintain they do a lot of makeup, they maintain their hairstyle, they make their ponies and do various other things. Okay, because they are able to see their image in the mirror. That's a simple thing. But we can say that a mirror is a highly polished surface at one end, so that the other end so that complete reflection is taking place on the other end. Okay, what is happening in the mirror? In the case of mirror, complete reflection is taking place on one end, and the other end is highly polished with aluminium. With, if you are having a lot of money, you can polish it with gold, with silver, with copper, and many other metals, many other shiny metals. Okay, so I can say what mirror is mirror is an object in which a mirror is a highly polished surface through which complete reflection is possible. We can say simply like this. Okay, clear? Now Suppose that I am making a mirror over here. This is a mirror, and this surface is what? This surface is a smooth surface in the case of mirror, because complete reflection is taking place in the mirror. This is a smooth surface, and this is a polished surface. Polishing may be done by anything, by oil, grease also. Polished surface. Okay, and the reflection will take place from this particular side. Okay, this point might be clear to you. Now, if I am talking about about object and images, what do we mean by an object? What do we mean by object? See, the source of light. What? This lamp. This is an object. This tube light. This is an object. I am visible to you. I am an object. This board is visible to you. This is an object. So object is anything which is having a physical appearance. That thing is known as an object. But object is of two types. Okay, object is of two types. Of what types? It may be a real object, or it may be a virtual object. Okay, object is of two types, real object or a virtual object. What do we mean by a real object? A real object is something which is diverging the rays of light. Okay, suppose a real object is a source of light which is spreading the rays of light. That is known as a real object, like this. Okay, this is a real object. The rays of light are spreading somewhat like this from a source. Okay, I am visible to you because of what? Because I am diverging the rays of light to the camera, and because of this camera I am visible to you. As simple as that. What is a virtual object? A virtual object is an imaginary object. It cannot be physically visible. Okay, you cannot touch it physically. As simple. Okay, you will not be able to touch it physically. And how is it formed? It is formed by the convergence of the beams of light. Okay, it is being formed by the convergence of beam of light. Okay, so the object which is formed by the convergence of beam of light, which is not at all physically touchable, or which cannot be physically felt, that is known as a virtual object. Okay, so this is all about object. If we are talking about the other term, which is the image is what? When the ray of light gets reflected from a particular surface, they give a formation of an image which can again not be felt physically. That thing is known as an image. Okay, so image, I can say that it is what? It is also a virtual thing. Okay, you can say that image is also a virtual thing which cannot be easily felt. Like, suppose here is the mirror. I am looking towards myself in the mirror. I am over here. My image will be formed somewhere over here. Yes, my image will be formed somewhere over here. Now, this hand. Okay, if I am just raising this hand, my image will raise this hand. Okay, I am raising this hand, but my image will be raising this hand. Okay, so this is the phenomenon of image. Means means in the case of real image, if we are just talking about the real image, what is happening? In the case of real image, the object gets virtually inverted. Okay, or you can say that the left becomes right and right becomes left in the case of image formation. So image may be a real image, or image may be a virtual image. You can simply say that a real image can be taken on a screen, a virtual image cannot be taken on a screen. This is the simple phenomena, that a real image can be taken on a screen and virtual image cannot be taken on a screen. Only this much. Okay, in case of real image, what is happening? Convergence of ray of light is happening. Okay, in case of real image, convergence of ray of light is happening, and in case of virtual image, divergence of ray of light is happening. Something like this. Okay, so we learned about object, we learned about image. Now we are going to talk about types of mirrors. The last topic of the day, the types of mirrors. Basically, there are two types. There are two types of mirrors. Okay, what are they? First one is the plane mirror. What is a plane mirror? In the case of plane mirror, we can say that the concavity is tending to infinity. Means what? Means that if we are just going to draw a circle from this particular thing, then that circle, the center of that circle will be at infinity. Okay, because this is what? There is no curvature in the case of plane mirror, but there is no curvature in the case of plane mirror, and that's why we can't draw a surface from this plane mirror. But if it might be something like this also, then we are going to draw a circle, but where we will get it? We will get it at infinity. Okay, it is not possible to draw a circle from a plane mirror. That's why it is known as a plane mirror, as simple as that. Now the another type of mirror that we are going to get is a spherical mirror. Spherical mirror, and the mirror are only of two types. Okay, first one is a plane mirror, second one is a spherical mirror. Okay, this spherical mirror is what? In which we are going to get a curvature, in which we are going to get a center of curvature, in which we are going to get the center from which the sphere is going to be formed. Okay, that's why we call it as a spherical mirror. See, this is all in 3D. Plane mirror is something like this. Okay, this is a plane mirror, not like this. Okay, this is a plane mirror. This is a spherical mirror. Okay, this complete thing, this is a spherical mirror. I am not able to draw the sphere with my hands, but this is a spherical mirror. All these things are basically in 3D. See, if I am just classifying the spherical mirror, it can be classified into a convex mirror and a concave mirror. Okay, these are the two types of spherical mirror, convex mirror and a concave mirror. What is a convex mirror? See, what you have to do, you have to perform a simple experiment. You have to take a ball. You can take a leather ball or any other thing, or a plastic ball or any other thing. If you are having a lot of money, you can buy a ball of around 1000 rupees, and what you have to do, you have to just cut it into two parts. Okay, if you are having a lot of money, you can just invest on it. Okay, if you are having less money, you can take a plastic ball of 1 rupees or 2 rupees, or you can take a small ball which you are going to get at 50 paisa or 1 rupees. Okay, what you have to do, you have to cut the surfaces. You have to just cut the surfaces, and now you have to draw what you are getting. See, this is the first surface, this is the second surface. I am going to draw this first surface, I am going to draw this second surface. Okay, just drawn. We are getting the center of curvature somewhere over here. So in this case, we are going to get the center of curvature somewhere over here. This is the center of curvature that we are going to get somewhere over here. Yes, but the problem is that in this, the reflected area is always on the left hand side. So this is the polished surface in the case of convex mirror. This is the polished surface in the case of convex mirror, and this is the polished surface in the case of concave mirror. Okay, and all the reflection is going to take place from this side. All the reflection is going to take place from this side. This is our convention, and you have to follow this convention so as to ease your calculations. If you just want to invert it, if you just want to make a concave mirror something like this instead of this, then what will happen? You are correct, but what will happen? You will have to change the formulas of your calculation, which I don't think you will do. Okay, so guys, you just have to remember the convention. Light is always passing from the left hand side to right hand side. Light is always passing from the left hand side to right hand side. Okay, this is the convention which is given by the famous physicists like Newton and various other people. So you just have to follow them. And I think that I should end this lecture over here because it is getting a huge lecture. So I am just ending the lecture over here. From the next video, we are going to start with the spherical mirrors. Okay, we are going to start with the properties of a spherical mirror. We are going to start with the ray diagrams of a spherical mirror. We are going to start with various other things like what is the principal focus, what is the pole, what is the principal axis, what is the center of curvature, what is where the object is found, where are the images found, what is virtual image, what is erect image, what is magnified image, what is diminished image. We are going to look towards all these things in the next one. Okay, till then, see ya, take care, and bye bye.